Welcome to North Idaho Experience. In today's episode, Eric and I sit down with Nick McCarthy from the Code 33 Project. Nick is a former cop out of the San Francisco Bay Area, and he has a wild career down there working some heavy crime areas with Daly City PD. And he shares a story of a shooting that he was involved in, which was... had some difficult decisions involved and a difficult outcome that eventually led to him leaving the police department and moving to Idaho, where he started the Code 33 Project, which is a mentorship program for the next generation of police officers, trying to build them in that image of just being a proactive, for lack of a better term, street goon out there working the streets and being an asset to the city, being a protector. So Nick's working on that project. He also mentors current officers, not just new officers. So for those out there looking to step up their career, he's got a great resource for you. This was an excellent conversation that Eric and I enjoyed quite a bit. So hope you guys get a lot out of it. Enjoy, and remember, please like and subscribe and share this podcast so we can keep bringing this information out to you. Check out our app. It'll be in the show notes. That's an excellent resource for those looking to make the move to North Idaho. And if you guys are thinking about making that move, shoot us a call, text, or email, and we will get you connected with the team. All right, enjoy.
Strangely comfortable.
Dude, these stickers are sweet.
Dude,
I'm
they
totally
came out cool.
throwing these on my.
Oh yeah.
Some of these on my computer. I can't wait.
Yeah, dude, they definitely came
Can
out
I
cool.
replace that one now?
You need that. This is like your jam.
I get
right
drunk
there.
at one
Correct.
freaking time.
Yeah, one time.
I end up with a drunk Eric picture.
That was literally the greatest picture I've ever taken in my life.
Yeah, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. I like
got
that
you.
Dave made 2,000 of them, and now I find them everywhere.
We have events and like we put them out on the table for kids to take, and these things are everywhere. Yeah,
Stay
it's
safe
amazing.
and stay proactive. Okay.
All
Okay.
right, this
All right, this is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun conversation.
This is going to be a fun conversation. I'm all for this. Cool.
All right, Nick, so what's your background, dude? Law enforcement prior, obviously.
Yeah.
Where at? How long? What'd you do?
So I was a cop in SF Bay Area for the Daly City Police Department. Just under 10 years.
Cool.
I did lateral to a sheriff's office in Sonoma County Sheriff's Office like midway through my career. When my son was born, I was kind of going through the thing of, hey, maybe I want to be a little closer to him.
Yeah.
I was, commuting about an hour south of where I lived. So, the opportunity presented itself. I took it. Great department, great cops, dude. They had a great work ethic. Just didn't vibe with me.
Where's Daly City? I know the area somewhat well. I was over there a lot.
It's the first city south of San Francisco. So we share a border with SF.
Okay, cool. Look, I'm pulling it up right now. Oh yeah, dude, you're right in there, bro.
Yeah. It was
Just a hop, skip, and a jump from Oakland too.
Oh yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Oakland and Berkeley. A lot of good memories there.
Oh yeah.
On the what is that freeway right there? The 80. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just wrecking Antifa.
So what was your yeah. What was your focus as a cop? Were you like DUI guy? Did you like writing soccer mom tickets? Did you like
I prided myself off of being a proactive, well-rounded street cop. Nice. And primarily, the agency that I worked for, Daly City, I had family who worked there prior to me getting there, who had paved the way. You know what I mean? My uncle had retired about 2 years prior to me getting there, and he was just a legendary sergeant, man. Just a cop's cop. Everybody loved him. Was involved in some big cases, big investigations down there, and very well known. And his son, my cousin, was working there currently when I got hired. He had about 10 years on, and was following in his dad's footsteps, man. Was an absolute stud. Made a name for himself immediately. So me coming into an agency like that, and coming from, I was raised in Petaluma, which is in Sonoma County, but it's more of an agricultural community, man. All my friends were hauling hay and cutting silage, and I go down to Daly City, and it was a completely different world. So getting into that police department, understanding the expectations of me, in my last name, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and it was one of those things where I was like, I don't want to come in here and just be mediocre, right? Because my last name's not going to allow me to do that. So if I don't exceed these expectations, why even get down there?
Right.
So Yeah, man, I hit the ground running. I linked up with some just unbelievable dudes who did the job the right way and taught me how to do it the right way. And then, as soon as we cleared FTO, man, it was off to the races.
Right.
How big's that department?
When I was there, we were about 110 sworn.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like perfect size.
Yeah, and it's only 7.5 square miles.
That's it?
A little over 100,000 people.
How pretty urban?
Oh yeah,
it's gotta be urban, right?
Oh, yeah.
That
but,
density.
But in that, it's funny, dude, because you try to explain Daly City, unless you've been there, it's hard to explain into words. I mean, San Bruno Mountain is right in the middle of it, so you can go from inner city to the projects to straight in the middle of the forest. It feels like so
weird,
very different. To acclimate to that, and the crime rate, wasn't low. We bordered the Bayview of San Francisco, so we had enough going around to keep us busy.
Yeah, I imagine you had some gang problems down there.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, definitely had gang problems. Wasn't as prevalent as you would think, and honestly, that came from the dudes before me. Right, they were just getting after it, and these gang members were like, "Look, it's a lot easier for us to sit in San Francisco and do what we need to do."
Yeah,
because we're allowed to. Unfortunately,
we're encouraged to.
Yeah, we're paid to.
Yeah.
But we did have gangs, absolutely. All of your normal Hispanic gangs, and then in the projects, they had their own gangs. So there was almost a community of that underbelly of society, man, that I had never even ventured to understand. Right, never been around it. So there was a learning curve there that I had to either put up or shut up. It was that was the agency, that was the expectation, and it was like, hey, if you can't acclimate to the way that we work, then you can go find another place to work.
Sounds similar to an agency I know here, even in size.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So what year did you start, roughly?
2014.
Okay, cool. Was that, I can't remember when they decriminalized meth and heroin. Was that before or after that?
It was my first week on FTO. It was a felony. My second week on FTO, it was a misdemeanor.
Jeez.
So I hit the road in 2008. I started the academy in 2007. But so, yeah, I had like years on before that happened.
Right.
And it was such a noticeable shift for me. I'm like, what are we doing here? Why?
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you see the result of it. You've lived it. It's
Totally.
like, well, who's making these decisions?
Right.
You know what I mean? And still people are doubling down on that dumb shit in Washington, Colorado.
They just did it in the chief of police in Seattle just said that they are no longer it's no longer criminalized to open air drug use is no longer criminalized in Seattle.
So if you're a cop in Seattle and you hate that, you might take a little pay cut, but Cortland, if you're good, Cortland is probably higher.
Man.
Come to Idaho.
But look at the difference. It's such a clear deviation.
Oh, my God.
Washington's the 4th highest crime rate in the country, and Idaho's 50th. Weird.
I wonder why.
Well, you keep criminal behaviors criminal. Like, it's so foolish.
Oh, that's another good shirt, Eric.
What's that?
Keep criminal behavior criminal.
Yeah, well, that to me is pretty freaking simple.
Yeah, the fact that you got to make a shirt like that is outrageous.
It's so,
you know what I mean? Common sense is lost, man.
I know, but when you're talking about like elected officials, whatever their original altruistic intentions, it becomes all about staying in office, 100%. And they're going to do what gets them elected.
100%.
So that's frustrating. So you did that you were a cop till 2024.
Actually, I was a cop, so I retired in late 2022. I retired out from medical for PTSD. And I was in a officer-involved shooting in April of 2021, and that was really kind of the straw that broke that camel's back. Mm-hmm. And I spent about a year and a half, in treatment, trying to get myself back on the street. And it came down to the point where, my psychologist basically made that decision for me, which, honestly, in that situation, man, I was grateful that he made it.
Right.
Because for me, I was like, hey, I'm not all right, but I'm going to say I'm okay because I want to get back to the street. Like that's where I want to be. It's where I belong. You know what I mean? And so, with that was a big thing for me, man. And overnight I became, I was a cop, and then overnight I was stay-at-home dad for a 5-month-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
So it just overnight, man.
Can we talk about the shooting?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So on April 7th, 2021, dude, it was a Wednesday, canine training day. So my routine was, I'll get into the office, and I do some obedience training with my dog in the back parking lot, dude. We get in briefing, clear it. I'll go to the courtyard, get gas, and I have about an hour and a half to get a hook before I go to canine training. And I'm there for like 6 hours. So it takes, a ton of my shift away. And I don't want to end the night with nothing. So I went to the courtyard, got some fuel, let my dog go out, do his business, and you jump back in the car. And I take off driving. I'm going 10-8, and I'm in service, right? And there was a ton of construction going on. They were doing like this slurry seal type deal. So there's traffic everywhere, man. And I was like, dude, I'm not sitting in this. So I banged it right, and I go down this road that's right next to our courtyard. So, I mean, we drive down this road every day, multiple times a day. So we're familiar with this area. And I make that right-hand turn. A white Chevy pickup catches my eye. It's parked kind of cattywampus on the side of the road. It's got a flat tire. The toolbox is all like broken, but it's up. The door's open, and there's a dude in there, and he's like slumped over the driver's steering wheel. And as I kind of caught it out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, first off, that truck, it doesn't look right? And the dude slumped over. I'm like, dang, I got to check on him. So I go down the street, I whip a U-turn, I'm coming back. And as I pass the car, I trip his plate, and comes back recently recovered out of SF. And the area in which it was recovered at was a bad area that I knew. So, there's, dude, almost every car in that area has been recently recovered. So right. It's not like, oh, this is a bad guy. Like, no, this is just something to keep on top of your mind, in case something happens. So I turn around again, get behind him. And right at the time where I'm putting the stop out, there's a trainee on, and he's got a last name that's like this big, dude, and just phonetics so slow. Sam, Adam, and I'm like trying to get on the radio, and I'm like, dude. Yeah.
You're like, you mother, come on.
And that's exactly where I was at in the car. I was like, God, of course. Like, I haven't heard any radio traffic for an hour. But the minute I'm going to go out on a stop. So, in those situations, like I'm not advocating for, any ghost stops or, jumping out of the car without letting people know where you're at. But that's what happened. I made the decision, and we rode with it. So I jump out of the car, and I'm walking up, and now I see the door kind of slowly close, but it doesn't latch. So I kind of just stick my fingers and I open it. I'm like, hey, Daly City Police, like just checking on you, man. And he's like, huge eyes. And he's like, oh, hey, sir, how are you doing? Like just totally, like talking a million miles an hour. I'm like, dude, first off, this chill. I'm glad you're all right. Like, but as I'm talking to him, I see there's a front right passenger and there's someone in the back seat that I can hear, but I can't see. And so I'm sitting there trying to tell dude, like, hey, just stop talking for a second so I can explain to you why I'm here. Once I did that, I can see the front passenger, and he's got latex gloves on, sitting in the car, and he's like moving his hands on his thighs like this, and he's going, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And I'm like, in police work, we call that a clue.
Yeah.
And so like instantly, hair on the back of my neck standing up, dude. I had that gut intuition of like, there's something a little bit more here than what I initially anticipated, right? Like I got to be on my shit right now because I know something's coming. And so I paid a little bit more attention to a dude in the front right passenger seat, and I noticed that he's holding a meth pipe in his hand now, and he's kind of rocking and tripping. And I'm like, all right. And I tell him, I say, hey, if you're tripping about that meth pipe and the little bit of dope you have in your pocket, like it's California, man. We're going to be able to figure this out. Like, you don't need to trip as hard as you're tripping. Like, I get it, but we're going to be able to figure this out. And, keep in mind, I haven't put the stop out yet, right? So I'm trying to do the verbal judo to just keep them, like, I'm just waiting for my time to get on this radio, man. I know what I'm going to do. I already know what this is, but I'm trying to make it seem as though I don't know to them, to try to just keep them where they're at. And, I hear, it's funny because every car we had, dude, it's the squeakiest brakes in the world, because we just beat on those things. Mm-hmm. And behind me, I hear, I knew it was a cop car. I just didn't know who was in it. And I kind of turn real quick and I just say like, hey, stay with me. So they park, they stop, and they come walking up, and they're
Beautiful.
behind me. They're like right here. And at that point, I'm like, cool, I'm going to put the stop out, right? I got another person with me so I can not relax, but I can kind of slow this down to the point of now I can think, right?
Yeah.
And so put the stop out, everything's cool. And two of my buddies were on a robbery detail. One was a lieutenant, one was a dude in a specialty position that we had. And we were having these robberies where, you know, we'd have a crew come out and they were focusing on all of our, you know, older Asian population, where there'd be an 85-year-old woman walking down the street. They'd hop out of the car, dude, knock her out, grab her purse and take off. And so we weren't going to have that. So we put out a team every day looking and you know, just that saturation in these areas in which it was happening at. So they were on their way to go to that area where they were hitting, and they heard me go out on a stop. So they just, you know, started floating my way, came over. So they pull in front of the car, they get out, and they're now on the passenger side. So I got two cops on the passenger side, me and one other cop on the driver's side. So at this point, I'm super comfortable, right? I'm like, all right, I got everybody that I need. So let's methodically take this. And so I didn't mention this, but I'm going through the whole, hey, what's your name? You got a driver's license? No. I'm all, shocker. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's so weird.
What kind of warrant you got? Let's just get this out. Yeah.
Well, and then the next thing was, I'm all, you know, what's your name? And he's sounding it out to me. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, wait, I forgot an S in the middle. I forgot about that, man. I'm like, oh, all right. You spelled your last name wrong. That's another clue.
Weird. Just painting the picture. I'm super curious. When you called that guy out and you said, hey, don't trip about the meth pipe or the dope in your pocket, did he chill at all? Did he pacify at all?
No.
Still, yeah. See, that's...
And he's still remaining in the car. Like we never even took him out of the car until afterwards.
Right.
And normally, not normally, but on the street, man, you know, when you knew someone that was holding something or something was in the car, to be able to explain to them like, hey, look, we have discretion, man. Like, if you're cool with me, the art of discretion is the most important thing I ever found on the street, man.
Right.
It helped me in all aspects, man. It took violence down to you know, moderate level to where we could function.
If that's the consequential stimulus. But when you call it out and you're like, hey, bro, that pipe and the dope in your pocket, and then you watch their behavior and you're like, that dude's still jacked. I haven't hit it yet.
100%.
We haven't hit the consequential stimulus
because he
yet,
don't care about that. He's like, I don't care about the pipe or the
something
dope.
Way worse.
There you go.
Yep.
And so I was tracking on that.
Yep.
And dude, you should be thinking gun no matter what.
Of course. Right? Yep.
So, and in this area there was a lot of guns. So it wasn't that we were used to it. But it was something that, you know, didn't scare us. You know what I mean? Like
you come across it all the time.
Yeah, just like out here, I can only imagine.
Every car.
Every single car's got a gun in it. So, you know, you need to have that ability to be like, hey, I'm not going to treat every single situation like it is gun drawn, gun in the face. You know what I mean? Like we need to bring 100 miles an hour into this thing. Like, you need to be able to have that ability to switch it on and off.
Agreed.
And so, you know, I'm trying to get their names, and I obviously know that they're lying, but even in that rate, I wasn't going with their program, so I wasn't allowing them to know that I thought they were lying. So I'm like, oh, all right. Oh, you forgot an S? Everybody does that. Everybody doesn't know how to spell their last name.
Totally normal.
Totally normal.
Oh, you don't know what year you were born? Yeah, me neither. It's weird.
Yeah, you were born in 2002? like 50 years old, man. So, you know, I had what I needed. I knew what I was going to do. My plan was set already, and not a set in stone plan, because there's going to be variables that screw that up every time. But I had a good basis. So the driver, I go, hey, listen, man, you're coming out of the car. You don't have a DL. You're giving me fake names. Like, enough. Let's go. So he comes out, and I don't handcuff him, but I put his hands behind his back and interlace his fingers, and I'm holding him like this. And I'm in the process of walking him back to the hood of my car. Because my car, I'm maybe a half a car length behind them, right? Or maybe one car length. It's not like my car's way, far away. So I'm just, and I got 3 other cops there. So I'm going to walk you to the hood of my car, because I have no doubt you probably have something in your pocket, right? And I want my hood of my car to be able to put all this shit in, right?
Yeah.
All your bolts and marbles and everything else.
Your flail.
Your lint and your Cheeto dust and everything else. So I was in the process of doing that. And this cop that was with me on my side, I had worked with her for dude, my entire career, and we worked 2-man cars. I mean, we were, we had worked many years together. We were comfortable with each other. I knew how she worked. She knew how I worked. And that was really everybody in that agency, man. We were super close, very, very close with our work ethics. And
with that number in your agency, that's a really nice number.
Yeah,
you do work with, you know each other.
Totally. It's
Yep.
not too big to where, you know what I mean? You haven't seen this dude in 5 years.
It's not just a number, yeah.
Yeah. So as I'm in the process of walking him back, I get to about like the middle of the bed of the truck. And she lets out, she says, Nick, his hands. And I, for what it's worth, it caught me off guard a little bit. I was like, Nick, his hands. I'm like, I've never heard, in the pitch of her voice, just everything about the way she said it, I knew something was up. It wasn't that like someone's putting their hands in their pockets. Like this was different. And so just out of muscle memory, I guess, man, I turned around. I didn't let the driver go because he hadn't been searched yet. So I'm basically walking back up to this open driver's door with bad guy in my left hand, right? And I'm walking up and I'm kind of canted and I kind of just peek in and I see the passenger and he's sitting there and he's looking just straight at me, dude. And he's got a pistol in his right hand laying on his right thigh, a Glock. And he's just looking at me. So I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm already behind the ball. I got this guy in my hand. I'm not even facing him with my plate or nothing, dude. This is all I have right here. And my 2 partners are on this side. So I'm like, oh shit, gun. I yell gun as I'm taking my gun out of my holster and letting this dude go. So it's like a one-man band happening right here, dude. And it's such a fucked situation. And I was behind the ball but it was what it was. So it wasn't something that you can just shit the bed and go, oh, well, can I do this over?
Yeah.
Like, there's
no reset.
No,
right?
dude. So I was like, all right. I let him go. I'm pulling my gun out while I'm yelling gun for my buddies on the other side of the truck. They had opened the rear passenger door so that they can see in the car because these windows were like spray painted black. Like they were super dark.
And there was somebody back there.
So, what happened between me walking to where I walked and back, I have no idea. But he had the gun sitting on his leg and on his thigh. And as I'm coming out with my gun and I'm turning myself like this, he lets out like this roar, and he comes from the thigh over the center console and he points the gun right at my face. And I'm like, here. And through him, I'm looking down the barrel of this gun, but right past him, his door's open, and my 2 buddies that are on the other side are coming through the door like this, and I see their hands because they're about to tackle this. Like they're getting in. So, from what I am looking at, I got to make a decision. And in the academy, I had this, I forget his name, man, but he was a really, really cool dude, really old school copper who came in, told us about a story where there was some blue on blue, right? Guy shot at bad guy, went through bad guy, shot his partner, killed his partner too.
Oh my gosh.
So for me, hearing that story at, young, I was 21 years old in the academy, dude. I heard that. I made the decision there. I was like, dude, I don't ever want to be in a position like that. So no matter what, I'm going to be very focused on making sure my backdrop is what it needs to be. And when I saw that, man, it obviously time is of the essence and you don't have a whole lot of time in that. And so I thought, hey, if I pull the trigger here, right, I'm going to send her around. I hope my gun is where it needs to be. We're about as far away as you and I, all of us, inside the passenger compartment or the driver compartment of this car. And I'm like, if I shoot him, he needs to be shot at this point. I mean, that's a fact, right?
Yep.
So, but if I do, and let's say I miss, because I'm not perfect, right? And there's so many variables that are happening. If I miss and I shoot my partners, one of them, even in the arm, how am I gonna download that? Yeah. And how am I gonna, live with myself on that? I know these dudes, you know what I mean? I know their families, they're my family, So I made the decision of like, you know what, dude, I'm not doing this. And it's right as I even thought about that is when bad guy pulled the trigger and he shot me right in the forehead right here. I didn't hear a gunshot, right? And I'm like, it sent me like 2 steps back. And I felt something hit me right here. And I'm like, holy shit, did he just shoot me in the face? Like, how? I didn't hear a gunshot. So I'm going through this like self-evaluation thing, like in a millisecond. And I'm downloading this like, okay, I know he shot me with something, but I think maybe the round rode the top of my skull and exited, or I don't know. Like, and so I'm like meandering around. I can remember this where I'm facing my patrol car and I'm kind of like walking slowly, trying to figure out what had just happened. And the back passenger door flies open and hits me. And I like almost fall on the ground. And the lady who's in the back seat takes off running. And I see her running and I say nothing. I just was like, whatever. And I put my hand on the bed rail of the truck and I could feel it rocking. And everything that had happened, all the emotion, like all the confusion really from, me, all of that went away. As soon as I felt that shaking, I knew that those dudes were in a fight with him. And I just knew that he had done what he'd done to me. So I was like, dude, I got to get over there. So I go around the truck at this point and I see both these dudes like on their tippy toes in the truck on top of this dude. And he was a big dude. And as I'm walking up to them, I go, all right, now I need another plan. And I could see one of my partners was trying to get shot placement. Like you could see he had his gun in his hand and he's trying to put it to where he can get off a shot. His mindset was that he thought I was still over there too. So he was in the same kind of predicament as me. And as I'm getting closer, I'm just about to open the door to the back of that truck. So I'm going to come up over that passenger seat and I'm going to shoot him there. And as I get to the passenger door, I hear 2 shots come out and I put my hand on my buddy's shoulder. And, before that, I'm looking at both of these dudes and my one buddy has got the gun like this and he's holding it above his head and he's moving his head side to side. And this dude's pointing it down, trying to shoot him. And I'm like, what am I, trying to figure out what had just happened to me. And then this is what I'm looking at. And I'm like, this is a shit show right now. Like, this is not good. So I heard the 2 shots go off. I didn't know if it was my buddy who got shot in the head from what I just looked at or the other partner that I had. Luckily, it wasn't. And right when shots came out, my buddy who was battling over that gun, he grabs it out of a guy's hand and kind of walks forward. I then transition right next to the other cop who's on top of the bad guy, and we take bad guy out of the car, out of the truck. At the same time, I hear him yell, my other partner, he's yelling, it's a fucking BB gun. It's a fucking BB gun. So it was a CO2 pellet gun that he had. And at that moment, I was like, there was like a breath. I was like, thank gosh. Like,
I'm not dead.
We're good.
Yeah.
I was like, we can figure this out later. No problem. Now we're good. And with all of that, right, now we got to do life-saving for him. Now we got to pull him out of the car, which we did. Provided him as best medical as we could, the chest seal, and we were doing everything we were needing to do. Everybody got there, and we were carted off, and the rest is what it is. But it was definitely a career-changing moment for me, for sure. Before this, I'd been through a critical incident prior, so like I understood what was going to happen next. But this one was way more up close and personal.
Yeah, and man. Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge? I mean, what stuck with you the most? What bugged you the most?
What bugged me the most was that I was put in a position where I couldn't shoot him, to be honest. That's because for me being in the position that I was in and the decision I made it to where that other cop had to make that decision, right? And so for me, that was a big struggle where it was like, no, this was my stop. He pointed the gun at me. I should have had enough wherewithal, right? Enough training to be better with my gun quicker. I was going through that whole almost survivor's guilt type of deal.
Second guessing everything that you
literally
do.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Every second. Yeah.
But those dudes are like I said, my family. Same with the female officer. We're all super tight. We haven't talked in a while now, but every year we get together, we talk. We're still really, really good friends, and this has brought us super close together. But yeah, that definitely, I struggled with that. But I struggled with other things too. The fact that it was a BB gun. Like for me, dude, I spent months trying to figure out how am I that lucky, right? Like
Right. Any other gun, even a 22.
dude,
Yeah.
like how am I that lucky? Like, dude, I couldn't rationalize with it. It was like, someone must be up there looking after me, dude, because I've never heard of that. And what it is, like, I honestly believe that dude bought that gun on the street thinking it was a real gun.
Right.
100%.
The way, the way you
100%.
describe it,
Yeah.
everything about that indicated that was a attempt to kill you.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And I know that in my heart, man. I knew it when I was staring down the barrel of it, and I was like, oh, this is a rough day, right? And so, I mean, and he had a CDC no bail. He was released early for COVID.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah,
like,
he was-
what were the circumstances? So that for him was fight or flight. He was trying to kill you and get away.
100%.
Yeah.
100%, because he was going back.
Yeah. And he knew it.
And I forget what the crime, I want to say it was kidnapping or something that he was originally arrested for and sentenced for. And I think he had a sentence of like 10 years and they cut it down to like 2.5 because of COVID and just released him. And then he gets released into SF, right? And he's got a day to go check in with his PO, completely bails FTAs on that. Right.
Weird.
And they can't find him. So weird. They can't find him. So he's on the, you know what I mean?
He had already made that decision long before that
Yeah,
moment
man,
that if he contacts cops, he's going to shoot it out.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And just the way he was committed, right? Like, dude, I fought people with guns trying to, hand on their gun, trying to pull it out of their
Yeah.
windbreaker, trying to shoot me. Like I've been there.
Yeah.
This was different than that. This was like, this dude wasn't trying. He was
Committed.
He was going to. This was what was happening.
We talked about that on SWAT, man. Some of them are, when you run into that one, the committed, committed percent, because most are not, right?
Totally.
And we begin to get complacent with those because we're used to the ones that eventually will like give up peacefully.
Right.
When you run into that, sounds like it's like that decision was made long before that contact with you.
Yeah, probably weeks, months prior.
Yeah, he says, if I come across cops, I'm shooting them.
Don't matter what, patch he has on his shoulder. Don't matter what.
Yeah.
Any cop, doesn't matter.
Yep.
It was just me that day.
Did you ever figure out what they were doing there? Were they just being tweakers?
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
What happened? I think they got a flat on the freeway, and actually, now that I'm remembering this side, so the driver and the female that were in the car, he had actually gone to their tent or trailer or whatever it is that they were living in SF, and apparently the driver owed him money, so he came there with that gun.
Is that the
To
gloves?
rob
That
them.
was that's what I thought. That was my thought process on it. So he basically held them at gunpoint. Get in the truck. We're driving to the bank. And you're going to give me the money you owe me. Is what it was. They just so happened to get a flat and pull into Daly City to where they were at, and then, you know what I mean. I just so happened to roll on by that day.
That turd die from that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild, man. It's almost trying to think about this as like objectively as I can. That's almost worse than like the one-on-one officer involved shoot, because you had so much to break down after that. Like I should be dead right now, right? If that was a real bullet, and why not? And then everything that comes with it after that. And there's so much Monday morning quarterbacking, and I'm sure the community, there was a lot of that crap too.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there was a lot of that, which just compounds it, man.
People wonder why it's so hard to be a cop when you have to worry, like the things you had to think about, the blue on blue, right? Like you can't just focus on the immediate problem at hand, which is a serious freaking problem, but you've got two people behind it that you have to take into account, right? And like to think through all of that is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, especially in the moment, because that's not the way your brain works. Like
No.
it's just having like conscious, deliberate thought during something like that. That's not realistic, because it's survival at that point. It's remarkable you even thought about that part, because most of the time, especially academy, all you do is you see the gun pointed at you, and everything else is gone. It's poof, whatever's
Right, which
wild.
is unfortunately how a lot of people would react to that too.
Right.
Right, we all know there's good and bad cops out there on different levels to the game, and that would I'm sure would have ended poorly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you did I mean, you did the right thing there.
Yeah.
Right. But still, even with knowing I did the right thing, you still have times where you're alone, man, and you're with your thoughts, and it creeps up on you, and you know what I mean? You got to be strong enough and confident enough to know that you made the right decision. And no matter how many people tell you that, right, you have to internalize it, and you got to accept that yourself. And no amount of therapy, unfortunately, man, I'm a huge proponent in therapy, man. I did 2.5 years in it, and it was awesome for me. But it wasn't what got me to the point where I'm at right now, to be honest with you, you know, and I've had a few years of some hard times. You know, I put my family through, you know, a bunch of shit, man, that they didn't deserve. And it wasn't because of, you know, I can't blame it on law enforcement. I can't say, oh my God, I got PTSD from all this shit that I experienced and went through. You know, that's the excuse, right? Like, and I did that for years, even before the shooting. I was like, you know, I justified every bad decision I made behind closed doors because of what I went through on the street.
Right.
And I finally came to the point where I think I hit, you know, they talk about rock bottom, right? And I've hit rock bottom a couple different times, but what they don't tell you is there's like a cellar that you can open up and go from
yeah.
There's even more.
There's more.
I found it, dude. And you know, once I was there, it was like, all right, I can either sit here and give myself this pity party I've been doing for the last 10 years. But that's gotten me here. Like, you know, so it's time to suffer in silence so that I can rebuild in silence. And I was okay with that because I needed that, man. I didn't deserve help, to be honest. I had burned that rope down to nothing, right? Like, everybody deserves help. Yes, I'm not coming from a standpoint of like, I shouldn't have any help because I'm so strong. It wasn't that. It was because of the mistakes I made. It needed to be me who took, you know, the responsibility for it and made the changes myself and didn't talk about it, but actually implemented it. And that's been the change, man. That's been what helped me. You know, and obviously, you know, cutting the booze, that's big. That needed to happen. 100% needed to happen 10 years ago. But, you know, law enforcement and the culture of law enforcement, it goes hand in hand with drinking. And it's the majority of the time, it's awesome. I love, dude, sharing a beer with my buddies, man, and talking about the weekend that we just had. It's needed, man, for decompression. You can, whatever, but it's that, you know, that conversation that you have sharing a beer. Right? And that's something that I've always loved, man. And so I always held on to it. Like, I wasn't going to let this go. And man, it took me for a ride. And so a bunch of bad decisions and some unfortunate events that occurred, you know, brought me to the point where I realized that and made the changes that I needed to make. And it's been amazing for the past, you know, 7.5 months.
How was your department through all of this, and how were the coworkers? Yeah.
Dude, I can't say enough good things.
Yeah. Good.
Absolutely solid. Was there room for improvement in little things? Of course. You're never going to have 100% what you want. So, but all in all, man, they took care of us, man. They supported us. They stood by us through the entire thing. Dude, you know, they gave us that week off. We come back in, and at that point is when the media got a hold of it. Dude, there was just all of the stuff you're seeing in the news right now was happening in that community. Because of this shooting. And so, you know, I get into work a week later, and it's on a Wednesday. It's on a canine training day. Dude, I'm driving in, and I'm like sweating bullets. Like, dude, this is the same day. It's the same. I feel the same, right? Like, so I was super, super nervous, but I was of the mindset like, hey, you know, things get tough, but that doesn't mean we quit. So like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get in uniform. We're gonna go in service, and we're gonna go do our job. But it was like a constant talk in my brain to motivate me to do this, and that had never been there before. So I was apprehensive. I was like, man, I don't know how this is going to go. Well, I get to work, and I'm doing my obedience training with my dog, and my lieutenant comes down to me and goes, hey, dude, we're going to put you guys on admin leave indefinitely until the street quiets down a little bit, because there was a ton of people looking for us. You know, the protests and everything, they were just like, it's safer for you guys, man, if you guys just go on leave. We'll take care of it from here. So that was nice, man. That honestly, it was such a relief for me, because I wasn't ready. There's no way that I was. And then, you know, coworkers and command staff, dude, checking in on us. I mean, they were solid, super solid, man. That's good. They took care of us, man. I can't say enough good things about them.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Yeah. And you don't hear that often, man. You know what I mean? And,
right.
And I truly, that agency, like, they were so motivated to produce their type of street cop. Like, the expectations was that you're going to come here and work. We're not going to do this soft police work, smoke and mirror stuff. We're going to come to work and we're going to take bad people to jail. And if in the commission of taking bad people to jail, we have to fight people, we're going to have to shoot people, we're going to have to tase people, we're going to, this is the job. And if you don't like it, there's plenty of other things you can go do.
Go to SF where they aren't going to ask you to do anything.
There you go. And working side by side with SF, what I can say is that, dude, there are some gladiators at that place.
I believe that.
And they are benched, man. I mean, it's terrible to watch.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, totally.
They're not only not asked to do anything, they're discouraged from doing anything, and they're punished from doing stuff. I know there's really good cops there that are same with Seattle PD.
Totally.
That are stuck there. Life keeps them there. Divorce and their kids are there. Like, there's nothing you can do to get out. Now, individually, there's no knock on that, but that's just the policies of that area.
No, and the reality and the truth of it is there's some really shitty cops there too.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
You know what I mean? And there's real shitty cops in every department, man.
Yeah.
And the conversation that needs to be had is that the truth needs to be talked about in not such a professional manner that no one knows what you're talking about.
Right.
Like, you see these, when you have your media guy in your department or whatever, they put out some sort of statement or some sort of press briefing. How they articulate it is, so professional, and they use all the buzzwords: transparency, community-oriented policing. They have to throw that in about 100 different times so that it's the topic. Buzzwords,
yeah.
Dude. And so, but at the end of it, the public and the cops are left going, what the fuck did he even say? Nothing. I have no idea. It was a bunch of words and shit. Like, no information.
Yeah, it's like Kamala Harris speech.
Right, exactly.
What did we just talk about?
Was that? I don't even know if that was the English language. And that's now being on, the retired side. And it, for me, I'm 34 years old. I would have never thought I would have been retired at, 31. So even being in this position for me, it's hard because I feel like I haven't earned it. You know what I mean? My dad's put over 30 years. He's still wearing a gun belt. You know what I mean? He's in his 60s, and he's a G. Like, he does it proficiently. But for having family, and dude, my whole family is in law enforcement. Like, one way or the other, they're either running from them or we're chasing them. Everybody in my family has a connection to law enforcement. And so growing up, man, I was raised in a police department. My dad, my stepmom, my stepdad, my uncles, my cousins. I mean, pretty much everybody. And so, I had that foundation of understanding, but like the dissemination of information from the police departments are what I see is as a big gap that we have. Now that I'm on this retired side, I can look at it in a different lens. And dude, I'm passionate about it and I love it, law enforcement. And that's why I created this company. Like, I don't wear these for looks. Like, I've had buddies who've died from this. I've shed blood, I've broken bones, I've done all of that for other people, right? For you. And so now seeing what's going on, this country's law enforcement in this country is completely off the rails. And I saw that disconnect. And instead of, pointing the finger and giving the blame out to this, that, I just went to work, wrote my outline out, and honestly said, I'm going to do this, and started my company. And it all comes from the passion that I have for law enforcement. I just don't get to do it anymore. So this is my way to keep my foot in it. And if I can help just a little bit, like, dude, I'm there, Yeah. So that's what the motivation comes from.
What? So you live in Idaho now. What precipitated that move to Idaho?
Well, I mean, after the shooting, it was a year and a half of struggling, man, between the media and, there was people trying to come to my house. Like, my agency had to contact my local agency and
that sucks.
Yeah, dude, have a car pass by my house all the time. And, when I was off on admin leave, the local,
Wait, I have a question that's
yeah.
important. What was the race of the individual that got shot?
African American.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was less than a year after George Floyd.
Yep.
So it was.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, it was a tough time for a situation like that to unfold, anyways. So with the media and all the other stuff, dude, we started thinking then, like, hey, maybe this is the writing on the wall. We had been thinking about it definitely before, but it was like a dream. It was like a happenstance. We were like, dude, Idaho would be great, but we had never been there. And we were working, man. We were invested in our community, of course, right? We put in work at my wife was a 911 dispatcher for the local PD where we lived. So she had busted her ass and got where she was at. And, I had done the same where I was at. So, and that's a hard thing to do, like leave all that behind and go to a new place. So at that point, it was like just a conversation. After the shooting, things got crazy for a long time. And in the local community where I lived, crime started spiking, man. I went, I forget where I was running errands or something, and my sister came over to watch my son, and I get an alert. No, this was like a year before the shooting, actually, because I was at K-9 training. I get an alert on my camera in front of my garage, and it's some parolee with no shirt on, tatted everywhere, and he's trying to break into my garage. While my sister and my kid are in the house, and I'm an hour away. Oh. My wife is dispatching at the PD where this is, in the city where this is happening.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, after that, I was like, you know what? Enough of this.
There's my sign. Yep, copy that. I hear you. Yep.
So like a year prior is where the conversation started, right? And that was the incident where I was like, we need to start thinking to get the hell out of here. Because it doesn't matter what type of, big police department you have or this or that, or it's your local leaders, your local politicians are allowing this to happen, and it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. So
and you from experience, they don't back you now.
No.
Right? So it doesn't matter how many dogs you have out there on the street that are out there to clean it up. They're going to release them faster than you can write the report.
Totally.
That sucks. Man, that sucks.
Yeah. So it came down to, hey, let's go out to Idaho and check it out. And it was during that time where I was on admin leave. We blasted out here, rented a house in Boise, and, drove around the area, went to parks and restaurants and checked it all out, fell in love with it. And then, dude, I would say less than 3 months later, I had a trailer and I was back and forth from Cali to here, and rented a house in Meridian for a little while, and then bought our house in Middleton.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
Best decision we ever made.
Did you start Code 33 project after you got out here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I started the company. We went live January 1st of this year.
Oh, cool.
And I've been working on it since, I don't know, probably only like 3 months prior to that. Mm-hmm. But it had always been in my mind, right? Like it was like the process of like just kind of stockpiling ideas.
Yeah.
But again, I was struggling with my own personal stuff. So I wasn't even close to the point where I could take something like this on.
Right.
So, and now it's, I have a day job. I run the day-to-day operations for a small pest control business in Boise, Best Pest Control. And that's my day-to-day. And then, my side gig is mentoring cops, and getting them right for the street.
I love that. The name, I think you and I share the same 10 codes from our departments, bro, but a lot of people probably don't know that.
I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, so code 33, basically code 33 is what you're saying to say, hey, I'm in something, everybody stay off there. Like my channel, my shit, shut up, I'm in something, or I got something, or something's about to happen. Yeah. Emergency traffic only for whoever calls it out.
Yeah, secure the channel. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, and code 33, it's always been something that me and my buddies always say, you know what I mean? We're just dumb as shit. So we're always saying stupid shit. But code 33 is like, hey, dude, are you going to yell code 33 tonight, or are you going to be a slug, dude? Mm-hmm. And so that, and then it was the code 33 group. But I was like, I don't know if I like that. And for me, I was like, you know what? I want to name it Project, because it's always going to be a project.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be evolving. The needs of clients coming through the doors are always going to be different. at different stages. So it allows me to kind of branch out into some other things too. To
just like police work.
Exactly.
Just
man.
like police
So,
work.
so the main goal right now is to mentor people that are looking to get into it, or both?
Both.
Okay,
Both.
cool.
So I would, and here's my thought process on it. You know, obviously today's age of police work is super difficult, right? It's not that hard to understand, right? We can all see it. And we can sit and we can talk about bad leadership, and bad leadership's the reason why everything is happening. You know, since law enforcement's inception, we've had bad leadership. Every career field is going to have bad leadership. We've always had it. We know this is nothing new to us. And the way what I was thinking was, it's like, I know the upper management, right? Your captains, your chief, they're controlled by your city council, your mayor, your city manager. So yes, we can have the best leader you think in like, let's say a chief's position, but you also have to understand that the chief is going to do what the chief wants to do to a certain degree. But if that, you know, that city manager, that mayor, the city council, they're going to come in and say, hey, we want it to be done this way. We don't want this, and we want it this way. You're either going to have a shitty leader, a mediocre leader, or a great leader. Your yes man, shitty leader, is going to go, okay, whatever you want, that's fine, right? Because he wants to keep his job. Because he knows if he says, no, we're not going to do that, he's going to probably have to find a new job within a month, right? So instead of trying to change the mindsets of those people, which is unfortunately going to be a very hard task, right? Because they're thinking with their money and their power. Why not go straight to the street cop and see if we can implement change there? And I understand that it's a lot to ask right now, especially for me sitting on this side of the table in retirement, right? I'm not working graves in the fucking rain, right? Like I'm not doing any of that. So like, it's hard for me to say, hey guys, like, let's get motivated again, right? And they'll sit back and they'll like, dude, why would I be motivated? If I get into this, they're going to throw me to the wolves and try to put me in prison for doing my job. So that's why I wanted both. I'm going to talk to these cops that are on the street now, and I'm going to have a conversation with them. Like, hey, look, what if we do try to get motivated a little bit more, right? Like, I understand the difficulties that are happening in the job today. I understand why you're not motivated to do it. I wouldn't be either. But someone has to do something. Like, we're going to have to step out, and we're going to have to make change on our own, because command staff's not going to do it. The local leaders are not going to do it. And with having that conversation with them and instilling that idea in their minds to get back to work, but also actually mentoring that new generation so that when they do come in and they do hit the street, they're full of motivation. They have the passion. They know their why they're there, right? They're not there because they want to get a paycheck, clock in, and just leave, right? And there's a big portion of people who believe in that. They look at law enforcement like it's a job, right? They're like, don't let this be your life, right? 1 foot in, 1 foot out, go there, clock in, get your paycheck, go back to your family.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with this specific career field, that doesn't work. Like, law enforcement is a lifestyle. And if you want to be successful in it, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it's going to take a part of your life. That's the facts, man.
Yeah.
This job asks everything from you, but gives you nothing in return. Like, it's a thankless job. We all know that. We all sign on the dotted line knowing that. And it's like, if we can change the mindset of these new, and I'm going to say it, square, kind of soft 21-year-olds who've lived at mom's house, never had responsibility in their life. They got no life experience.
Never been in a fight.
Never been punched in the mouth, but have never punched anybody in the mouth. The disconnect there is craziness. And then you get into the police academies who are taking, the red man out because it's too dangerous for their trainees. And it's like, the only time where you're going to train these guys to actually get into a physical confrontation, you're taking that away because it's too dangerous.
That's insane.
And then they're going to hit the street. What do you think is going to happen? That these people are just going to be like, oh, yeah, put me in cuffs, please. Like, so my main motivation is to change that mindset and the work ethic for new people coming in. Like, give them a different set of expectations. Don't just go through the motions. And most people, they don't have a neighbor that's a cop or a family member that's a cop that they can go and have a sit down with, and that individual give them the actual truth of what this job is, right? And I think, like, for me, it doesn't come from a bang on my chest, I'm God's gift to police work place, right? It's not from a conceited place. I know 100 different cops right now are 10 times better than me, still working on the street, right? So, like, it definitely does not come from that place. But I know what I did, I know how I did it, and I know the results I got. And it's as easy as understanding, like, the basic fundamental responsibility we have as law enforcement is protection. And I think that these local officials and the activists and the politicians, they've been on this kind of sort of campaign in the last 10 to 15 years of trying to diminish law enforcement, what we stand for and why we're there, right? And like, there's an absolute need, and it's for protection. We are protecting you from the underbelly of society, man. There's so much evil out there that you have no idea about. You're, at Costco shopping with your kids, the amount that's walking around you, you have no idea. And the only thing standing in between that and them coming to your house to do bad things to you and your family are us. So we're going to have to find that common ground of, like, you do want a cop in your neighborhood who's at 2:00 in the morning with his windows down, turning off his headlights, creeping through the streets, trying to look for anything he can find. You do want that. But there's also that other side for these cops where the new ones coming in, I want them to understand the when and where and the art of discretion. Like, there's a time and a place to tell someone to shut their fucking mouth.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But there's also other times where you should not at all, right? The difference between the soccer mom and the bad guy, like, not being able to understand the difference there and how to communicate with them and how to treat them, that is one of the main things, right? But also, I had some experience with this, with being kind of a fill-in FTO. Law enforcement doesn't have a bad apple problem, right? Like, we have a insufficiency problem, right? We have cops on the street right now as we have this conversation who should not be cops, not because they have some malicious intent for some group of people, right? Or they're going out there to do bad things. It's because they literally do not possess the capability of making the right decision under stressful circumstances.
Yeah, we've all seen that, dude.
We've all seen that, dude. Pulling a gun instead of a taser. I mean, dude, there's a video of a cop putting a bad guy in the car, and an acorn falls and hits him on the back, and he turns around, dumps a mag into the car. Like, so, being able to slow things down is one thing, but being able to use your brain and think to make your decisions instead of your emotions is what we need to really drive home to these younger cops. Because, dude, you guys probably understand this as well, but it's like, dude, when you get into law enforcement, ego's coming. Like, it's a really hard thing to not feel that, right? You're 22 years old, man. You just got into a patrol car. You're cut loose. You know what I mean? And you're thinking you're the baddest dude on the planet. I'm finally here, dude. But being able to be humble enough to go, I'm going to check myself a little bit, or rely on your teammates, man. Like, that type of behavior, I think, really rubs our community the wrong way. When you get some egotistical cop, you know what I mean? And that's what changes the perception, and they think that's what law enforcement is. And
I used to get so frustrated, the physical side, right? I worked with a lot of dudes. Some of the offices I worked in, there was a lot of, like, older dudes that had completely let themselves go.
Right.
And, I would always question their ability to handle themselves in a physical situation. And where I worked, it didn't happen that often. We were somewhat rural, but, I would put on, I was training JITS at the time. I was the DTAC instructor at the office. I'd put on, like, free classes on the weekend. Like, come for an hour and come train. We'll do some rolling. We'll do some striking, whatever. Yeah. Nobody would ever take me up on it. Nobody. And I would get so frustrated. They'd be like, I'm gonna go play golf, and this, whatever, it doesn't matter. But this ties back to, like, hey, it is a lifestyle, right? Yeah. And part of that is I need to be ready to handle anything. You shouldn't be the guy that goes to the range and just, either takes the ammo home because you don't want to shoot. Right. We've all seen that. Oh, yeah. Or just, I've also seen they load all their magazines and they just indiscriminately dump them and do zero training.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you're doing that. You don't give a shit about self-defense. Like, Why are you even doing this?
Right.
Those are low probability but high risk incidents that yeah, sure, they don't happen all the time, but when they do happen, like shit goes bad really fast.
Yeah, totally.
I would get so frustrated.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know.
It's a mixed bag, man. I look at it from a lot of different sides. It's really hard. A lot of it's a quality issue, right? If you're trying to get qualified cops in a community that has already shown they're not going to back up any cops, what do you expect coming into the academy?
Totally.
And they have to fill numbers. I mean, at some point in time, it's like, all right, you meet the basic minimum mental, physical, and moral qualifications to be a cop. Not only that, but some of the moral qualifications. When you look at what they'll disqualify people that could be cops. There's a part of me that if one stage of your life, 10, 12 years ago, you were in the back of a cop car, I don't care.
I want that.
Yeah, like that's
I want
that's
that.
an okay perspective.
Right.
And it's funny, I still teach at our academy here, and I'll tell them, and it goes a little counter to what you're saying, but not really. I say, look, your family has to be prepared for that first year or two. This is going to it's going to change you. You're going to see things that you didn't see before, and the community is going to look a little bit different. That first year or two is going to be tough. You're going to be expected to pick up those overtime shifts. You're going to be expected to go to JITs. You're going to be expected not just for the year or two, but this is until you can find a balance.
Yeah.
Because there has to be balance.
Totally.
What I don't want is somebody that's so committed to only being a cop in every facet of their life that everything else takes a shit.
Totally.
And I've seen that too, where you get so wrapped up, and then those ones are the ones that like you get wound so tight that they do something foolish on the street, and then it's 100%. Devastating for them because that's all they are as a cop.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
You have to be prepared for all of that adrenaline that comes with the job, and at the same time being able to live a normal life at home and appreciate it.
That's so hard, dude. That's why I always had at least like a 30-minute commute, and I needed that time.
Oh yeah.
Decompress.
Both directions. Yeah. One way to get my head in the game because I had little kids, you know, one way to the other way to get it out. And if I needed to call somebody to be like, hey, I was gnarly fatal last night. I just got to tell somebody before because I don't want to tell my wife, and I feel like I need to tell somebody. Yeah, I had that time.
Yeah, I utilized the same thing, man. Mm-hmm. I had, you know, like I was saying, almost an hour each way. Mm-hmm. That was a godsend, you know. And I'm with you, man. There needs to be, you know, yes, it is a lifestyle. Yes, you need to devote.
It's not like any other job.
Right. It's not like any other job. And I absolutely huge proponent in having, you know, outlets that are not law enforcement related. Don't surround yourself with only cops. Like, have your your buddies from high school who are, you know, your boys since day one. Like, hang out with them. You know what I mean? Get that break for sure. But what I don't want is that, you know, this perception of law enforcement that it is that easy, right? It is that easy of just another job, right? Like, and because I want cops who are there. I want cops who know why they're there. Yeah. Right? Like they see past the bullshit and the noise, and they're there for a purpose. Like I'm here because I believe in this. I'm passionate about this, and I believe that I can protect this community by doing whatever it is, right? You don't have to burn the world down every time you go 10-8, man. You don't have to be the proactive cop every minute of every day. I'm not saying every cop needs to be like that, right? But, you know, I think we are adult enough to not be so, you know, participation trophy type in law enforcement. You're going to have guys and gals who are good at this. You're going to have guys and gals who are great at this, and so on and so forth.
Takes all kinds of
kinds to make that big machine of law enforcement work efficiently. Like, and that's a fact. It doesn't work if one piece is missing on that. But in that argument, or in that, you know, statement, put your best players on the field, man. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you got 10 dudes who are, their main purpose, they're hungry, they want to go out. They're like, look, I don't give a shit at training. I don't care I'm off in an hour. I don't care that I have court in 3 hours. Like, we still got time on shift. Let's go.
Street goons, dude.
Right? And let them be let them do that. That's what they want to do. That's what they're good at, right? But honestly, let's make sure you can trust them to go out and work that way. Let them show you that they have that type of responsibility. You know, they're responsible enough for that. Don't just, oh, hey, you might be a good cop. Go out there and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, let them work and prove to you that they are that cop as like your sergeant or something. And once they do, okay, hey, you know what? Like, beat 1 for us was super busy area, high crime. And, you know, hey, they're going to put someone who wants to work out there. It wasn't like, oh, hey, Johnny got that 2 nights in a row. Now Billy needs to get it 2 nights in a row, so it's fair. Like, dude, no. Look, you've arrested 30 people in 30 days. You've arrested no one. So you're going to go sit in the beat that doesn't have anything going on.
Right.
And if you like that, great. But be a well-rounded, right, cop and do what's expected. Do a good job. Don't be a slug. Don't sit there under the tree and go to sleep every night. Like if you're not a proactive person, great. Make sure you're, the best at whatever investigation is your thing.
Taking crashes
or anything. Anything. Every investigation that comes at you should be, A+, right? And that's not to say that, the street cops get leniency on that. Like, no, dude, if you're going to be this, you're going to do it at an A+ level. And if you have 5 cases that are all on view and you got to write search warrants and you got to that's on you, man. Mm-hmm. So I do think that we can get to the point where it's like, hey, let's look at our agency. Let's, I hate saying stats, but let's look at who is the most proactive we have. Let's look at, this person for this area. Like, dude, these beats, we know what crime is in each beat. Let's put the cop there that wants to be there, right? And instead of this like fairness type of T-ball type of inner communication that we have in some of these police departments, it's like we don't need to go there. We're all adults. We're all doing the same job that is obviously unlike any other job, and it's almost as if I want new cops, man, to have the same seriousness about their job as like someone in the military does. Yeah. Right? Like I'm not trying to make the argument of like the military is same as law enforcement, but
it's paramilitary.
But it's a paramilitary organization, right? But you look at your special forces operators, right? Let's just use this for an example. You have a guy in a SEAL team, right? He is focused, he knows why he's there, and he's going to bust his ass at 100% because that's what the job is. That's what's required of him, right? Why is that any different for the cop?
Right.
Why would that be any different? What other job do you put a gun on your waist for and put a bulletproof vest on and go take people's freedoms away from them?
Yeah, and honestly, cops make more money and get better bennies.
100%.
Well, there's no burn pits in the police world, so
that's true.
There's no VA bennies there, but
yeah, and it's. And I'm not, and again, like I know there will be people out there fucking. He's trying to say that cops are just like SEAL. Like, no, man, I'm not making that argument whatsoever.
Only troopers are like that. Just for the record.
Yeah.
It's tip of the spear.
But that that seriousness towards what they're doing and why they're there, and that type of passion for what they're doing is, I think, one of the changes that'll help progress us forward. As a whole.
Absolutely. What's the best way for people to find you?
Got a
website?
Yeah, www.thecode33project.com. Okay. And we're on social media, the Code 33 Project, on Instagram.
Sweet, dude. Okay. I will link both of those in the show notes so people can find you. Nice. What's like your ideal client?
Ideal client. I honestly don't even have one. It's anybody that needs help with anything, man. Okay. Right now I have a client who, working cop, getting ready for lateraling to another agency, bigger agency, and wants some help. So, we're working with them and it's been a great thing so far. So, very cool. For me, I want everybody, man. Anybody that wants any kind of help with anything, even if it's someone that just wants to bounce ideas off of, man, hit me up. I'm here for you guys.
I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, awesome.
Definitely. I thank you for coming on. Thanks for doing what you do.
Good way to stay in the fight, dude.
Hey, man,
absolutely, because we talk about that a lot. Like you miss it, dude. You get out, you miss it.
Fuck yeah.
So finding a way to stay connected is huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. For sure, man. I really appreciate this opportunity to come in and talk with you guys.
And thanks for telling the shooting story, because
absolutely.
The more you talk about it too, the better it is for you.
Sure.
Better it is for us. My heart rate goes up. My heart rate was up. I'm like,
well, and obviously
I was right there with you, bro.
Having good quality cops, man, that's
it's you. It's everything.
Being a contributing member to the community where you want to raise your family is massive. So
man, for sure.
Even in a place where it's not as awesome as Idaho, right? Where maybe they aren't as supportive, we still need good ones out there doing it.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. Much appreciated, Nick. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Later.